Stephen, welcome to the Built Different podcast. How are you today, mate?
I'm good, Stephen. All good, apart for this wee tiny cough that I've got. So I'm trying to see how we can go, if I can keep holding it in.
We'll hopefully get towards the end of the episode without any fits. But if we need to do this again, we'll do it again.
We'll do it.
So the reason I wanted you on to the podcast, we've been working together for a wee while, but more importantly, you've been in business for a long time. You've been through a lot of different things in business. And I really wanted to get you on because you kind of developed recently, or more recently, as a kind of marketing expert, particularly with lead generation in 2025 and why it's a little bit different to what it used to be in the past. And you've been experimenting and testing with a lot of stuff and getting a lot of great results in the last few years, as you have been doing for a long time, but particularly in the last few years with different tools and strategies that you've deployed, as well as having a good team. So I wanted to get you on and explore that a little bit for the listeners. But before we get into all of that, if you could let us know a little bit about yourself for anyone that doesn't know you, and I suppose why you're in Dubai as well would be nice to understand.
Well, first of all, congrats on actually getting me on a podcast, because I get asked all the time and I say no. That's Angela's job.
Yeah,
she goes and does them. So yeah, I've been in business for 21 years. So started way back 2004, and I'm a gas and heating engineer to trade. So stayed with my original company till I was about 24, and then decided to go out my own, because like what everybody does, you start looking and going, actually could make no bad money, and then you go out and you realise, even though I was a really good gas and heating engineer, that's not what it's about, because there's quotes and follow-ups and paperwork. And
so you didn't, at that point, like most people, you didn't really see behind the curtain at that point until you actually take that big leap.
And you go out and you do it, and but very quickly, one kind of core strength that I've got is realising where weaknesses are and where we need to plug. So the whole paperwork and all that sort of stuff, I'm like, right, and people. So started off, it was just gas and heating, and that kind of grew because you were in people's houses and it was like, oh, we're looking at a kitchen and a bathroom. And so obviously I knew a lot of other trades, and I just started to develop it. And Angela as well, we grew it, and we grew it to, it was a team of maybe 8 or 9 within kind of 2 or 3 years. And then that just kept growing and growing into a like serious kind of £5 million turnover company over the course of 11 years. Yep. So so that's the kind of journey. Still a gas and heating engineer at heart. I'm a problem solver, so that's always been something.
And that business was back in Scotland, and obviously when you started out, again going back to I suppose the marketing kind of theme that I wanted to touch on today, getting leads, getting opportunities looked very different back then to what it is now, I'm guessing. How did you go about it?
Well, the weird thing is, so getting leads and the kind of brand building is something that I was really tuned into. So even at the very start, when it was just me, I knew other people, but they were running about in white vans.
Yeah.
So, I had uniforms. We had the vans, they were all liveried. I had pens, I had stationery, because for me, the actual brand I knew was important. That's what people buy into a lot of the time. And even as a small business, I realised that's what we had to do. The other thing back then, so we would have been, back then as if it's like in the black and white days, horse and cart. But back then, so there was internet, but there was no Facebook. I think was just kind of starting, but I don't know what was Facebook, 2005 or 6 or something. So
and
that was a thing.
Infancy, at least.
Yeah, and like people weren't really doing much with it. We at the time were still very focused on leaflet drops on the wee local newspapers. And again, people would come up and say, how have you managed to grow the business so quickly? But it was advertising. We advertise. Like I say, I would go around and post the leaflets through myself. All of that stuff.
So that was mainly B2C then?
All B2C back then, yeah. So kitchens, bathrooms, all trade stuff. But we used to do the wee local magazines, the local papers, all of that stuff. But it works. It gets eyes on the business, and it gives you a bit of credibility. Because if you're paying money to be in the paper and be in the, people were always a wee bit more like. So even back then, 20 years ago, we were doing 20 grand bathrooms and 20 grand or 25 grand kitchens for just a small business. And again, a lot of people couldn't understand, like, who's paying that money for that? Because we knew how to go find the right clients. So
Find the right quality leads.
Find the right quality of leads, yeah. And again, part of the thing, and I realised it really early on, is that if you want somebody to spend a lot of money with you, you need to do two things. You need to deliver, but they need to trust that you can do it.
Yep.
And how you look, how you turn up,
Yep.
all of these things matter. And people say, yeah, they don't always, but they do. People are making decisions all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we always had the cleanest vans, no papers, and like down it, and the guys put their blue shoes on, and like, so
well presented.
Just wee tiny things.
Yeah.
But when you add them all together, half the time when we went in there and came back out, the job was ours.
Yeah.
Just because we were able to show at the beginning, before we'd even lifted a tool, that we would be able to deliver, but deliver quality and clean. Because people stress out about doing things in their house, and stress out about what if this happens, what if that happens. But being well presented and doing everything right to begin with. So again, I think that's where the marketing side has always came. Gas and heating engineer, trades guy, but I always knew like a wee bit more. I always kind of good at piecing things together.
Aye, so did you begin to kind of, even at that early stage, understand that in order to grow that business, you needed to kind of understand the psychology of the person that's buying, understand, you know, all the demographics you're trying to target? Did you have that kind of understanding, or was it learnt, or was it just basic?
No,
just had it.
I think I had a good understanding. I've always been able to build rapport with clients really quickly. And I think it's just because you're authentic.
Yeah.
You know, you're not trying to bullshit people or pull the wool, or, you know, most of the stuff that you're talking about is coming from, there was this previous client, or this is what we've done for such and such. And so I think you can build rapport quickly, and people can buy into that. And if you are good at what you do, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
But certainly the marketing side back then, even though probably I wouldn't even have said it was marketing, it was just that we were delivering on what we were promising.
And you probably didn't call it marketing, but then just where we get the next customer from.
Yeah, and we marketed testimonials and you know, all the stuff that people just do as normal now. We done all of that back then. And that's why it was successful, that's why it grew. But I think most importantly, like, sometimes people overcomplicate business. And we always say, see if you just do what you say you're going to do. And this is where, like, it's the most simplest thing. But if you go in and say, look, that's going to be done by Friday, that's how much it's going to cost, get it done by Thursday or Friday morning. And if you can, like, everybody's always looking for a wee bit more money. What can we push? We would actually do the opposite sometimes. We would come in, we would always, okay, not saying we were perfect and we get everything right, but if we could bring it in a wee bit earlier, we would do that. But we would also go back and say, listen, we've managed to source something a wee bit better. So actually the balance, it's going to save you £100. People just get blown away with that. And most of the time they'll still give you the 100.
Oh God, aye. Do you know, that's interesting you say that, because I was taught growing up, rightly or wrongly, always to give more value than you've been paid to do. And the reason for that, the reason I was told to do it, and I've always kind of followed it, is people do remember how you made them feel. They come back to you many times. They're more than happy to refer you, to give you a testimonial, because you've went that extra yard. And also saying that, you know, do the job on time. When you say you're going to do it, for how much you're going to do it. I mean, if you do those things, it puts you like in the top 1%. Because most other businesses don't, especially, you know, in the UK, a lot of standards aren't great at certain times. I mean, it's well known in the UK that if you've got a building project of any kind, it tends to be delayed.
Delayed and goes over budget.
It's quite common in the UK. So, yeah.
Do you know, it's interesting. I saw a thing on Instagram, like, where you see everything these days. You don't, like, I read it in the newspaper. That doesn't happen anymore. I saw it on Instagram. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about the best car sales guy in America. And basically they asked him why, how he managed to do it, how he broke records every month. And one of the big things was, he said, when I'm selling a car to someone, I don't try and sell them the highest that I'm going to get paid the most commission. I'll try and say to them, look, you don't need to go there. What you want to do is maybe go here because it's got all the same features. It's maybe not get this, but do you really need it? And what happened is, over those years, all of those people went back to him
Yep.
and bought another car.
Hey guys, Steven here with a quick interruption to the episode, but it's for good reason. I want to give a shout out to the official sponsors of the Built Different podcast, Suited and Booted. These guys are a premium formal and casual wear brand with stores across Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Glasgow. And I've been working with them for a while now, and to be honest, I was actually buying from them long before we became partners. I'm actually wearing some of their products today whilst recording this episode. They're on a mission to completely change the tailoring game, and they're doing it. The service, the attention to detail, the quality of the products, it's all first class. They genuinely outshine their competition. And you know what I love most is that we are aligned on values. They're humble, client focused, and all about creating a top tier experience. That's exactly how I try to run things too. So whether you're leveling up your wardrobe, prepping for your wedding, or just need to look sharp for a boat party, brunch, or big business event, go check out Suited and Booted. Head to suitedbooted.com, or better yet, visit one of their stores. You'll get the full experience and you'll leave feeling sharper, more confident, and ready for your next big event. Now, let's get back to the episode.
And when I was watching it, I was like, it's kind of the same thing that we done, where we would just try and give so much value that anytime there was another project, they would just come to us.
They don't even think about it.
No, they don't even think about it. So when I'm marketing for people now, because that's always been a part, and it's always just been natural, and I never really thought about it. And then a few years ago, people were asking me to do basically some of Angela's clients were asking, could I do a wee bit of consultancy? Could I help them some stuff? And it was weird because what I assumed is just a normal way to think about that, so many people don't. Yeah. So when I started talking about when we're marketing and when we're going to do this, we need to shine that through in the marketing. So before we even get the client. So,
positioning.
Yeah. So when you're in and you're doing a quote for a customer or whatever, and you're facing, and you can build rapport, you can do all of that. The hard bit's trying to do that through your messaging and your marketing.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what we try to do with a lot of people now, when we're working with them. We just take that whole thing of what they're doing and try and break it all down, and then try and get it across in the way that we position the messaging, basically.
So you've skipped a wee bit there, but it's fine, because I wanted to come to this part. So the one thing I really like about you and Angela is you're not just marketers.
So what you're saying is I'm thinking too fast as usual, no matter what we buy. Yeah.
I've got to rein you in a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there who say they're marketers have never ran a business before. They've never had to stress about making payroll. They've never had to go through the challenges of a real business, a proper business. And anyone can say they're a marketer. And that is something I don't like these days about social media and stuff. You've maybe got, I've made this mistake myself. You kind of bring a 25-year-old marketer to help, and some of the quality is just horrendous. You guys have been business owners for a long time. You've ran the whole business. Marketing was one element of it.
Yep.
But now that you've kind of specialised, I suppose, or niched down into marketing, these days, you're doing it through the lens of, I've been where you are. I know how difficult it is to run a business, to actually manage the delivery aspect of it. And I think that's what makes you guys stand out compared to maybe other people out there.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think from a marketing perspective, and marketing's such a broad term, but we think about it very differently. Because as you're right, when you run a business, when you've got staff and stuff, there's payroll to make, you've got client delays and, all of that stuff. So it teaches you a lot. It makes you quite resilient with certain things. But what it also does is it teaches you where you need to try and get things right. So when we kind of look at it through the eyes of the client, a lot of it, there was one not that long ago, and we'd went in and done a Facebook audit and done various things, and they were talking about, the how many views and this and that, and just all the metrics that we're getting X amount of leads. And I'm right away going, what's the conversion?
Yeah.
Because it's
Does that translate to sale and cash in the bank?
1,000 leads, fantastic. I'm like, you're looking at the wrong metric there.
Yeah.
So agencies, you'll get a lot of agencies that, and you know, a lot of the time it's not the agency's fault, because you'll get the founder of the company or the MD or whoever it is, they're looking at the metric of, we need more leads.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is that pressure starts to go back to the agency.
Mm-hmm.
The agency look and go, right, well, we'll need to get leads. So what they do is try and get cheap leads.
Yep.
And it's like lead ad forms, no real nurture, no great lead magnets. But what they do is they just up the budget, open up the target, and try and get more stuff in. Yep. And then they can turn around and say, well, we've got you 500 leads.
Yeah.
But you're not converting, so that's no ever. So you end up
cause that resentment.
Yeah, so you get this big disconnect.
Yeah.
So that's something. Over the years, I worked with various different marketing companies. We had our own marketing team, and that was something I spied early on. But it's like everyone's trying to push the wrong metric, rather than actually getting to the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. So we really concentrate now on, you know. I'm obviously doing some stuff for you.
Yeah.
Not once have I turned around and went, oh, by the way, we get, X amount. It's like, how are we going to convert, right? How many are we actually getting into the book call? What's the conversion? Mm-hmm. Where is it sticking? So are we getting people into the call? Are we not converting, or are we not getting people? So it's always just trying to find
and what kind of people are coming through the funnel, the filter system. Yeah.
And that's a big thing as well. Like that ad audit thing that we talked about earlier. They're getting 500-600 leads, and 300 of them they can't get on the phone.
Yep.
So we're now running, maybe getting, probably we're now back up to about 500, but the calls that are getting made from it are way, way more.
Yep.
And again, it takes time. It's very hard to do something like that in a couple of months. And that's always an issue when you're a marketing team or a marketing agency, where people want quick wins.
Yep.
They want to say, well, I'm paying you X amount, and where's the leads?
Yep.
But what we're trying to do now is build a relationship with the clients that we're working with as a long-term thing.
Yep.
So, okay, we need to maybe do a bit of front loading. There's a lot of work goes into it. But as we then start to go, we're basically just working with them all the time.
Yep.
And just constantly adding to making their, basically the ecosystem.
Yep.
So your marketing ecosystem, you want to be everywhere.
Yep.
Just dripping out so that people can see Steven Pettigrew, Monopoly Capital, whatever it is, all the time.
Omnipresent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it takes time.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, I was listening to a podcast on the way through here. It was about YouTube, actually. And the guy was saying, listen, if you want to become Mr. Beast on YouTube, you're thinking wrong if you're wanting to, generate sales into your business, because he's getting millions of views, but most of those millions of views are kids and children. They're not paying clients.
Yep.
So if you're trying to make a YouTube video in the same way Mr. Beast does, with all the crazy editing that goes on, it's not actually relevant to you and the audience you're trying to build. Yep. So he was saying essentially that views on YouTube and stuff is not a good metric to consider. And it's the same way what you just mentioned there. The audience building that we've been building is a very targeted audience that resonates with the kind of stuff that we're talking about. Yeah. This conversation is about marketing and how to get better, high quality leads into your business. And that, again, the one thing I've got to say about you is you're not just you're not helping businesses in one niche. You've got business acquisitions on our side, you've got property, you've got all sorts of different things going on and different funnels going on. So it works and translates across most businesses.
It's because it's you're marketing and selling to people.
Yeah.
And obviously in this day and age, the transition to like the next part of the digital age with AI and everything else. And we were talking 2 or 3 weeks ago. So one thing that we've done is over the years, and I say this all the time, I am by no means the marketing expert, but I've spent enough money in marketing and I've been involved in so much. But we've also, over the years, picked the people that are absolutely dynamite at what they do.
Yep.
And we either bring them on as a consultant, we'll bring them on as a partner on some stuff, just depending on what it is, whether that's Facebook ads, whether that's Google ads, because we can't, or I can't be the best at everything.
Yeah.
But being able to pull some of the best people together makes a huge, huge difference. And I think for me, and I say this all the time, like we're now getting into a crazy age with AI. And when you look at it, AI's leveled the playing field for so many people. Where like the opportunity now is crazy. But what we're now starting to see is everyone now is starting to look a wee bit generic.
Yep.
You know, where we've got paragraph, 3 emojis, paragraph.
Yeah, you can spot the chat GPT post some elevate.
Yeah, and even, you know, you've got the double hyphen, you've got but even people that are taking them out, the way that it's written.
Yeah.
And all it is just people aren't educated enough yet on how to use chat, how to use Claude, where they'll run it through once and then go, oh, that looks fine.
Yeah.
You know, building your custom chats, doing your tone of voice, uploading like all the things so that it understands is the way to do it. But even at that, you're still changing 40% of it to make it more human. But that's what people aren't doing. And that'll come as people start to understand that a bit more. But yeah, there's definitely a bit of a level playing field. And the point I was getting to there was lead magnets, PDFs, like PDF download, checklist, used to work fantastic. What we're finding now with all the testing and all the ads and stuff that we do, there's still a place for them. But it's information overload people have got now.
Yeah.
People are running everything through chat, even on their own, just checking. So for more things to read and more things to learn and
digest.
Yeah, it's tough for people now because the
attention span's not there.
Yeah, it's not there. So, you know, video's obviously been so good for a long time, but short videos are working phenomenally well just now. And I think even YouTube said that now. YouTube short videos or YouTube shorts are more powerful now than the long form stuff. It's just a shift in the way we digest stuff.
I find that myself. If I've ever downloaded a PDF recently, I skim it. I don't really take it in too much.
Oh, it used to be the days you would download it and then you'd have your notepad and you would be going through trying to highlight and learn. And now you want somebody telling you what's what.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the lead magnets and mini courses and stuff that we do now is all video based with an additional PDF because people still want to see that, but people want to learn from someone showing them and teaching them, because that's how we digest most stuff now.
So, without giving away the names of maybe the clients you're working with, maybe an example for the viewers of, I know you do a lot of really good stuff with paid ads, for example.
Yep.
What would be an example you could give on an ad spend for a client and the return that you're able to get for them based on the really targeted approach you take on that?
Yeah. So again, over probably the past 4 or 5 months, there's been a few. It's a construction home improvement company. Their spend was about 3.5 grand over, in fact, like 4.5 grand over 3 months. And in that 3 months, they brought in 97k.
It's a good return, isn't it?
Now, obviously in home improvements, you know, profit and stuff, it's turnover, so it might be 10 grand bathrooms. So, but it's still ones that you wouldn't have if they didn't run it. And again, I say this all the time with Facebook ads. I've spent £500,000 on Facebook ads over the years, like crazy amounts of money, but we've got a return for it. And people, when you start to invest in it, if you look at it as a long-term investment, because when you're acquiring those clients and then you're getting them through and you're getting the job and paid, it's then your job to get them to buy again from you. Yeah. And the only way to do that, exactly, lifetime value of the customer is huge. It's sometimes hard to measure. Not if you're using my tracking system, but that's where too many people focus on, well, I spent 2.5 grand that month and I get nothing. And it's like
it's a mindset
part
thing,
of
isn't
that
it?
Bigger picture.
Do you think nowadays in 2025 that most businesses can run organically without a paid ad strategy or a paid...
In certain industries, there is certain industries that, you know, I know a lot of Instagram, like people that will show people how to do things in Insta and stuff like that. A lot of them don't. However, a lot of them have built up their organic following when it was a bit easier to build an organic. It's definitely much harder now. You know, there's more people on it. And the other thing is as well, people have changed the way they use like Instagram and Facebook, we see Instagram now. You know, we still do some stuff on Facebook, but Instagram's like from a meta perspective. Like I don't follow anyone, and like I follow I think 100 people.
Yeah, people you actually digest their stuff
that are giving me value.
Yeah.
And I look, and some people are following like 4,000 and 6,000. You're thinking, how, like, you'd be caught up looking, that's like, so, but there's definitely a change now where people are less likely to follow. Now, you really need to catch their attention. But an organic strategy is huge. You need good organic. There's no point running ads and sending them somewhere and then they have a look at your page and there's not much on it, or it doesn't translate to what your ads are all about. Yep. So it's consistency through. So, but is it very difficult? You know, it used to be people would pay, I pay £400-500 a month and I get 5 posts a week. I say to people now that are doing that, do not, like, don't spend £500 doing random posts unless you're joining it up with a strategy for ads and getting visible.
Yeah. I've noticed that, like, we have even LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's probably one of our most used strategies that we use, even prior to working with you guys. And I think the algorithm seems to have changed 5 times in the last 6 months. And it's when we've got a LinkedIn playbook that kind of teaches people how to find opportunities for acquisitions. But the key message, I think, is just be consistent, because you can't control things like the algorithm. You know, if LinkedIn starts to churn out posts from 4 weeks ago, which, by the way, might actually be a good thing for people that are consistent, because it's churning that out.
Yeah,
you know,
so it's a lag effect, but it's always happening. It's just always going. Yeah,
because that's the thing with socials, isn't it? Because Twitter, for example, or X and TikTok, the half-life of those videos and posts is tiny. In fact, probably minutes it's getting replaced. Whereas if LinkedIn's going down that road of rewarding people that are consistent across the platform, YouTube, of course, you can put something on there and it's there forever and searchable forever. But I think the key message for people is to be consistent. Whatever strategy you use and it's working, keep doing it.
Yeah, I think it's just the world we live in now, where people want instant gratification. That's quick. Just the way it is, you know. And you can look at every bit of psychology and all of this stuff, but the long and short of it is people are impatient now. Yeah. We've got every bit of information and every answer to every question that's ever been asked. Like now,
and everyone's phone.
And it's right here.
Yeah.
And you know, I look now at my kid who's 12. He doesn't even use a keyboard. He just presses and talks and asks the question.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wow. It's like, so we're now at the point where we're not even using a keyboard. He's just talking in and the whole chat. I struggle because it doesn't pick up, it doesn't understand me when I need to speak in an English accent when I do it. But I find it really interesting because that's the way we're going, but there's no point fighting against it. You know, you need to actually adapt and kind of see it. And even we're talking that, you know, people are using chat now rather than Google.
Yeah.
You know, so again, you know, getting found on chat now is quite a thing. So there's things that you can do in order to rank, that we are starting to put code into websites and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting. But yeah, I find it really, I think I saw something and it's like in 10 years' time, the kids will be saying, so wait a minute, you typed a question into Google and it came up with like 2 million answers and you had to individually go in,
each website,
look at one, and go, and then go into the next website. It's like now.
And what's a keyboard?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, and even just talking into it, that, you know, in a few years' time, that's going to be laughed at as well because you'll just think it. And so all of that stuff, it really fascinates me. But but you need to always be evolving, but you need to be on it where we are just now.
Yeah, because again, another person I've followed, Daniel Priestley, a few people say this, but we're in this age where, and it's going to be a much bigger divide from now on, is you need to either decide if you're going to be a producer or a consumer. And the AI is going to be it's already there, but it's going to be so intelligent where it can just plow so much stuff towards consumers.
Yep.
And but at the same time, for producers, it can be your biggest weapon if you use it properly.
Yeah.
You understand it now. And I'm only just dabbling obviously with you guys' support. But I think especially if you've got any kind of online business, I think you kind of need to have this type of strategy.
Definitely. I think it's interesting as well when you look at where we are, it's still so new in a sense, you know, but all the information that's getting put on, there is going to come a point where, because there's a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
And when you ask chat, we talk about artificial intelligence, but the intelligence part is it can just read the internet very quickly and pull whatever is on that internet and pull it and give you the information. And there's this like talk at the moment of, well, how is that then policed?
Yeah.
You know, how is that
who's feeding the sausage machine?
Well, exactly, aye. and you know, is there a higher people that are just feeding information in that we're all asking for and getting?
Yeah.
You know, how is it sense checked? Somebody actually said, I was playing golf the other day and somebody said to me, oh, AI is getting stupider because all of us humans are actually putting all this information in.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get that to contend with as well. But yeah, used properly, you know, it's a game changer at the moment. It's doing things that, you know, we would have took weeks and weeks and weeks to do.
Hey guys, quick one before we jump back into the episode. If you're a business owner or a high-performing exec and you've ever thought about buying a business without risking your own cash, then I've built something for you. I've launched a brand new online mentorship program that breaks down exactly how I've done it. Real-world strategies, no fluff, no recycled theory, just the stuff that actually works. If you want to learn how to find deals, structure them properly and start building real wealth through acquisition, then click the link in the show notes or description and I'll see you inside. Now let's get back to the episode.
And it can do it in 10 minutes, you know. The only issue, like I said earlier, is people spend 10 minutes and then just put it online or post it and you're like, no.
And
you need to layer it, run it through, layer it again to get it right.
Yeah, and the way that you guys do it is there's so many different trigger points at different points of the funnels to understand where people are getting through, where they're stopping, why they're stopping maybe, the type of people that are stopping, the type of people that are coming through. Yeah. It's all those data points.
Yeah, it's so important. And being able to track that. So one of the things where we spoke about is, you know, my kind of tagline is like building marketing machines, fully stacked, fully tracked.
Yeah.
And there's so many things out there. But trying to get the right information and the right data and track it and then use that data to your advantage in order to retarget, in order to see where sticking points are. That's where, so our system of building that marketing machine or that marketing engine, just part of this bigger ecosystem for people. It blows people's minds when we sit down and I start showing them what they can do and they're like, so you knew he was on that website page and then he was looking at that and then that then triggers to send him a time-sensitive email and like
how long he was actually on the page for.
How long, when he exited, you know. So we're tracking all of that. And, you know, everyone accepts the cookies.
Yeah.
You know, we all do it very, you know, unless people are a wee bit more into it. And, but every big brand is just chasing you about, you know, and they're tracking every single bit that you can possibly do and using it to the advantage. And people think that's just for big companies. It's not.
Yeah.
You know,
it's accessible to everybody.
Of course it is. But you need to know how to put it all together.
And that's why you're saying earlier that AI is a bit of a leveler.
Yeah.
Because you can compete with these bigger brands on a certain level.
Yeah, 100%. So it's good to see. But when you start looking at it and you start looking at the system that you can build, like to bring leads in, it's wild. It's wild what you can do to retarget people. And listen, bringing in leads and getting sales solves 90% of your business problems.
Totally.
You know, people stress out and this is happening and that's happening, we're delayed. See if you've got a funnel there that's just throwing in leads all the time.
Yeah. Cash in the bank.
It solves so many problems.
It does. It erases a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I can speak for experience for that.
Yeah, and me, 100%.
It's funny you saying about the targeting thing, just totally random. I think I mentioned it to somebody, and obviously your phone's listening to you. at all times.
No, it's not.
It's listening to us
We
right now.
can't start going down the conspiracy road here. We need another hour.
Listen, I'd love to.
Yeah,
I think
that's a separate one.
I'll do a separate podcast about
Sounds
conspiracies. I love it. But I'm thinking of getting one of these kind of remote desk things where I can move it around the house.
Yep.
And it can be extended and all that sort of stuff. I think I mentioned it once, and my phone's getting bombarded with ads.
Yeah.
Of
mobile standy desks.
Aye. And the last few days has just been wild. But again, a reminder that we're always being marketed to.
Yeah.
And I suppose what you put into this is what you get out of it.
Yeah, but it's like any. So of the whole CRM and data collection and all that stuff, it's like the most boring stuff ever. You know, so when we talk about marketing, you know, Angela deals a lot with the positioning and the messaging, and she's obviously got like NLP background and knows the right wording and like I'll do some stuff and she'll go in and change. She's like, no, make that you, change that and it like totally changes everything.
Yeah.
My kind of side of it is more the kind of back end where I'll look at the data and we'll like integrate the CRM and the sales pipeline, and it's super boring, you know, in the sense that when you try and talk to somebody about that, they're just like, I just want sales.
Like,
you know,
eyes glaze over.
And it's like,
but without that, it wouldn't work.
Well, it does, but like we've done this for so long, where you know you go out and you get people leads, and you do a good job, and they go, you need to turn this off, because what happens is people, they start going out and they're doing quotes and they're sending proposals and they can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
And then what happens is they stop getting back to people and they implode, and you're like, right, okay. So that was a big thing when I started getting more and more into doing the consultancy stuff, where I'm like, you want leads and you want sales, but you've got no systems.
Yeah.
So being able to build that marketing machine and or sales and marketing machine within a system where everything drops in, it creates it. So you've got your normal active campaigns and all this that will do that. But the tracking and stuff for the stuff that we do on our, we've got a real bespoke thing that we've done. And it's all of these things just feeding in. And it means that, I always say this, if the person who's dealing with all that decides to leave that company, the new person that sits in, everything's there.
Yeah.
You know, you're not having to learn all of this thing. You're learning one system.
The system,
you just follow it.
Yeah. So the transition from running businesses back in the UK and everything that comes with that, warts and all.
Yep.
When and why did you transition to more of a consultant type basis? And I know you still run businesses, but it's more of a consultancy type.
All consultancy stuff now, just because like running businesses for 20 years and people, so I've employed hundreds of people over the years, and even more like consultants and subcontractors and all that stuff. So you deal with people all the time, and like any business, the bigger it gets, the more headaches you get, the more everything else. So you're always kind of fighting fires and putting things out and solving everybody else's problems, and it's something I've always been quite good at. But when I started doing stuff with Angela, because anything that I've ever really been involved in, I've always built something.
Yep.
So it's like build a house, build a hotel, or build somebody's bathroom, there's always been like a
real project.
Yeah, so there's always been that part. And then when I was starting to do some stuff for Angela or Angela's clients, and for me it just comes supernatural, and I'm like, all right, so what you do is do this, and they're like, as if I just come up with, the most amazing thing ever, and I'm like...
But it's normal for you because you've been in it.
Yeah, because you've been in it. And what I quite liked about doing the consultancy stuff was that I was able to help other businesses grow. I was able to help the actual founders and stuff like that. But I didn't have all the staffing and all, so I quite liked that idea of helping somebody else build, but me not actually physically having to build a thing.
Yeah.
So it's more just using the knowledge that I've got to actually...
Helping the founder, who's more of the decision maker and the driving force anyway of that company.
Yeah, and just being a good support, and but not actually, I like to say, physically having to go build a house, or build
staff.
a 30-bed hotel with, which was fun when we done all that stuff. But yeah, so I didn't ever think I would get such a kick out of helping people grow their business through the kind of marketing side and the system side. But I enjoy it. So that for me was probably a transition by accident, where I just started doing a bit more over the years. And I used to always help people, like over the years, like other businesses or subs that would come in and be asking, what about this? And, you know, I'm thinking I've got a contract here. And I'd always kind of help and advise just as a favour.
Yeah.
But when you start to look at it and then start to get paid for it, and then at the same time, you're actually seeing the results you're getting for people.
Yeah.
So like anything else.
Rewarding.
Yeah, it is rewarding. Yeah, it is. And I do enjoy working with other business owners because they understand it.
Yeah.
They understand, like...
And you understand them because you've been where they are. That's what I was kind of alluding to at the start. Like a lot of marketers haven't been in that position of running a big business or any size of business, actually.
Listen, one of the best marketers that I ever worked with previously, it was the exact same. He wasn't a marketer. He had a business, built it up through marketing, sold it, went through all the pain of trying to build it and everything else. That's why he was one of the best marketers. Yeah. And that was how I originally learned about Facebook ads, was through him.
So you've had mentors throughout your journey?
Oh, tons. Yeah. Tons and tons of mentors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some real proper good mentors, one of the issues with mentors or coaches and why they get such a bad name is people don't want to admit that they're getting stuff wrong. So it's a real tough gig being a business owner and being an entrepreneur. People say all the time it's a kind of lonely gig as well, but it is. But I think as well as a man, that people, if you're a man and you've got a business and it's not doing particularly well, a lot of them won't go ask for any help. It's just a man thing, isn't it?
Especially as an entrepreneur, and I'm more specifically saying Scotland here, but probably UK wide, because it's a pride thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ego thing. Don't ask for help.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes things are really, really easy to fix. So that's why. So I would never ever say like I'm a business coach or I'm a whatever, because that's 100% what I don't want to be. But there's always an element of when you're helping and consulting, there's a bit of coaching and stuff that comes in there.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of people out there that sit and struggle away trying to figure it out themselves.
And all it takes is to find the right mentor. Now, I've had good mentors like you. I've also had some bad mentors, and I don't know if you've had that, but sometimes it takes a bit of trial and error to find the right one. But once you do find the right one, it's like, you know, it's a lightning bolt to your business. It's 100%. Amazing.
We one of the mentors that in the early days, I think it was in my 20s, maybe 27 or 28, the business was booming at the time, but it was getting big. You know, we had multiple sites and hundreds of staff, like subs and direct staff. And I got this guy in, and his default was just about how we were going to get more profit. And I'm like, I'm kind of doing okay. I'm not really wanting, but I think I need some more systems. And at that point, that's when I realised where like systems were important, because you can go get tons of turnover and get money coming in, but there's gaps everywhere that you need to fill. So that was interesting to me. He was useless. So, because he had no idea what I was actually needing.
You know, similar to marketers, business coaches, there's no real barrier to entry to say you're a business coach. Yeah. And again, I know there's a lot of good ones out there, but there's also a lot of, like most things in life, there's good and bad. But that's probably why business coaches get such a bad rep, isn't it? Because they can literally change their LinkedIn profile to business coach with absolutely no prior experience of running a business. Yeah.
Do you know, it's one of the ones as well where I kind of look at it in two ways. You know, you've got people there that are talking about being a business coach or marketing coach, and you know they've only ever worked themselves. They've never had a member of staff or an office, or they've never had payroll to meet. And you're kind of like, really? But then on the flip side, I kind of look at them and I go, well done, good for you.
If you can deliver, it still doesn't matter.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get a lot of people that get really hung up and, you know, why the hell would, you know, they call themselves this and that. But good for you. You know, you've left a job. You're now trying to make it.
Yeah.
You know, if you can deliver, good.
Yeah, it doesn't
But there is a lot of rubbish out there as well, you know. But I just kind of look at it on let people like that do what they need to do. They're trying to find their way as well. Maybe a wee bit more diplomatic when it kind of comes to that. But there is still that bit where you're just like, they do give a bad name. Yeah.
I find there's, as my profile and like, I suppose, visibility online has increased over the particularly last couple of years. I find there's a lot of random people just copying exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whether, again, people who haven't actually done what I've done, and what I mean by that is copying videos I've done, copying posts, almost word for word. The way that I write posts, and you know they're doing it because one, you can spot it a mile away, but also before they do it, they jump onto your profile. You can see they've viewed your profile. So it's a funny thing.
Angela gets that. So I'm not on LinkedIn. I come off LinkedIn in like 2022 or something, just because what ends up happening, I just get brilliant traction on LinkedIn, like 500,000 views and all of this kind of stuff. So I always put a wee bit of humour in, with a wee bit of value, and they're good wee mix. But I always found that people were commenting a lot of the time on how I should treat my staff or how I should run my business.
Yeah.
And they worked maybe in a corporate role, and I was always like, well, you know, that's fine saying that, but you come and run a business, you know, for X amount of years with X amount of staff, and see if you feel the same at that point. So I always found the business owner and the LinkedIn employee, not bashing employees, it's just, you know, that is what it is. But everyone's fine to have an opinion, but for me, I just couldn't understand why. I'm like...
It's almost like sophisticated trolling.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'll say it anyway. Sophie's...
Cut this bit.
No, it's fine. Sophie's saying... Sophie's online presence has been growing, as you know.
Yep.
And she had this guy on her Instagram comment on one of her videos, and she'd done a wee bit of digging through LinkedIn and found out this guy's a head teacher of a school in Sharjah here.
Wow.
Right? And it's like, you think these higher, you know, educated people wouldn't be like that, but they absolutely are. And LinkedIn still gets them. You still get people like that. They're just doing a more sophisticated way.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, trying to be a wee bit clever with stuff. So for that, I was like, well, I just had enough of it. So I just kind of come off it. You know, that's the other thing as well. So my online presence is minuscule.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's like I tell everybody all the things that they need to do. Most of the work and stuff that I get is recommendations. So it's business owners like you that if I do a job for, they'll say, go speak to Steven or Steven and Angela, and if you want that sorted, they'll sort it. So but the whole, you know, Angela has got some ads running and she's quite, you know, she puts tons of stuff online. But some of the stuff like she gets is, you kind of need to detach from it. You know, when you get people calling a retard was one. Yeah, you're a retard. I don't know if you can say that word, but you know, sure you did. You're scammer. You're grifter. You're like all of these things, and I'm like, God, just take a look into what she actually does for people. But they don't. They just see that one ad, and it's like, I'm just going to hammer you, and it's grown men.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
What is going on?
The guy that done that with Sophie's the head teacher of a school. It's like, but by the way, it's like those. He's supposed to be educating those kids.
Yeah, but I can't get my head round, as I'm a grown man, of going and commenting on a woman's post, regardless if I agree with it or if I don't agree with it. Maybe in my head I'll go, sure you did.
Yeah.
But
you only got out of your way.
I just find it. But because I wouldn't do it, you know, I can't really comprehend it, but there's so many. It's weird.
But again, not all those people, 99.99% of them are nowhere, like they're always behind where you are. Like you don't always get people, you never get somebody criticising you if they're further ahead than you. No,
that is true. You know, that is a true saying. But there's the other thing as well, that people will do that and they've obviously got their own story as well. Do you know what I mean? That you don't know, but it doesn't justify.
No.
I mean, some of we obviously run a lot of Facebook ads for people, and you know, some of the comments that need to get deleted are unreal.
Horrendous, yeah.
But everybody just thinks anyone that's doing a Facebook ad and they're talking is a scammer.
Yep.
You're a multi-level marketer, you're a Ponzi scheme person, you're selling online courses, you're taking advantage of it. it's like it's just a weird mindset for people rather than go, well, maybe I'll look into this person.
Yeah.
But,
So you mentioned Angela a few times.
Yep.
And she's been a guest on the podcast. Probably this will come out straight after Angela's episode, actually. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Angela. How is it working with your wife? How's the dynamics of that? Because a lot of people struggle. I know me and Sophie did.
Yep.
That's why she doesn't work with me anymore. How do you find that dynamic of working with your other half?
Good, actually, really good. We've obviously worked together for years. It wasn't always good. You know, I think, I don't know whether she'll have told you the story, like back in the day, having a proper, like, shouting match in the office in front of staff.
Right.
Like long time ago. And so there was a wee point where it was like, is there any point in us working together? Because I've got my way of doing it. She's got her way of doing it. And we should obviously do it my way. Cut that bit. So that, there's been challenges. There's been challenges, but on the whole, we complement each other very well. So we've obviously been together for like 25 years or something, 26 years together. So it's a long time. But we definitely complement each other really well when we're running businesses. Obviously moving into the consultancy, the online space, she's been doing that for like 8 years. Me less so. But I definitely think that as we've started to kind of merge together, we work really, really well.
Because you offer different things, and even just like in relationship, life and business, you kind of need to, over time, create your boundaries, don't you? You know, we'll talk about this at this point. We won't.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Oh, right, okay.
Doesn't happen. See, I think because both of us love business, both of us love what we do.
Yeah.
You know, so there's not a time where I go, oh, I'll need to get that done. I'm like, oh, I'll get that done.
To be fair to you, and again, we've been working a wee while now. Like, you'll quite often be working on some of my stuff at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, 100%.
And don't get me wrong, I'll jump on as well and get it finished. But I think that's when you're working with somebody that's got the same work, because I think we've got similar work ethics, me and you. I think that's encouraging when you're working with somebody like a consultant who is on the same page as you.
Yeah, and you know, like, you do need to have boundaries, and I get that, because, you know, pinging WhatsApps at 10 o'clock at night, and then eventually people will think, oh, that's just the norm. But it's like anything else. If there's any wee issues or things that need fixed, it's like, right, they'll still be there in the morning. Yeah. But going to bed, you're kind of thinking, I need to try and get that sorted. I'd rather do it than now. And look, everybody talks about work-life balance. They talk about, you know, getting things right. I think as an entrepreneur, and, you know, I never call myself an entrepreneur. I think it's fine for other people to call you it, but I would feel weird to do it. But as a business owner, if you are trying to find work-life balance as a business owner,
you're in the wrong game.
I kind of think so. And, you know, I think Hormozy is kind of pushed a few things out like that, where he talks about, look, in your 20s and stuff, of you're talking about trying to find balance. I 100% agree with that. Yeah. You know, and I understand people talk about burnout and all of that. So you need to manage that. But I think as an entrepreneur and as somebody trying to drive the business, you know, I used to do a thing called Midnight Monday. So basically on a Monday, I would go in to the office and I would work until everything was up to date. Yeah. So we'd do that on a Monday, because there was always stuff at the end of the week that you try to get done, whatever happened over the weekend. So on a Monday, I would just work. And there was sometimes, like, in my office in Paisley, I'd have the shutters down and stuff. I'd be up the stairs in my office, and then you'd look and it's like 20 to 2 in the morning.
Yeah, and the time goes.
And I'm like, but you're in flow. Yeah. That flow state is the most amazing thing to get into. Yeah. And when you do it, you're just like, oh, I'm banging through this. This is amazing. But I would do that every Monday. And don't get me wrong, some Mondays it was 10 o'clock. Yeah. But if it was 2 in the morning, it was 2 in the morning. You're prepared to do it. Yeah. And, you know, that worked for me. Wouldn't say it worked for everyone. But I think if you've got a thing in you where you want to build your business and you want to grow it, if you think you can do that between 9 and 5, Monday to Friday, then you're mistaken. Maybe there is people that do it, but I just think from an attitude point of view and for trying to actually get to where you want to go, there's no getting away from it. You need to put the work in.
Totally. I kind of see it a wee bit like seasons. Sometimes are almost like you need to go sprinting, and then you can, once you've finished sprinting, you can take a wee jog or a wee walk. You then sprint again. It's almost like that. So, just as we begin to wrap up, Stephen, you moved to Dubai recently.
Yep.
What was the thinking behind that, and how you find that?
So it happened real fast. We'd been coming on holiday for like 4 years, and I just loved it. Just loved the vibe. People talk about the energy of it, and there's like a total weird energy, good vibe, and and obviously just coming here on holiday. And Angela had some family that was here. They've been here for like 18, 19 years, and I just liked the idea of it. But one thing happened. I was driving and I was listening to a podcast. I can't actually remember who it was, but it was a person saying that one day there was like somebody had passed away, and he was like, you know what? I don't want to grow up in the same place and die within 10 miles of where I grew up.
Yeah, and never actually ventured outside.
And never went and saw the world.
Yeah.
And people go and see the world, and we go travelling and we go on holiday, and then we go back to our life. And there was a wee thing, and I spoke to Angela about it, and I was like, our life's good, and we've had tons and tons of struggles and everything else over the years, but you just push through. And there was a point where when I kind of told her that story, and she was like, and I was like, we're in our 40s now. I'm like, what good opportunity to maybe go look at something like this. And she was like, get the dogs and my mum and dad, and like just the same things that everybody says.
Yeah.
And it took a wee bit of time, but I chipped away because I thought, I just want to experience a wee bit more of life. You just don't know. And, you hear of people your own age, like popping their clogs and dying all the time through illness, through accidents, through just horrible things. And you think, and everybody always says that they'll not take stuff for granted. And then what happens is, it's like when you break your arm, you're like, oh my God, I'll never take, doing this or playing tennis or for granted again. Once you're back in, you're playing it. After 2 weeks, you're like completely forgot about your broken arm. And then I read as well someone saying that when you're lying in your bed and you've got a blocked nose, that you go, see, when this goes away, I will appreciate every day of not having a blocked nose. Yep. And then the next time you think about it is the time you're lying in bed with a blocked nose.
Totally.
So I'm like, so it's that kind of thing where, people get ill and all of that kind of stuff. It just happens.
Yep.
So it's like, why not just go away and try something and do something? Yep. I'm like, we've always been like that. We'll build a house, let's go do that, and let's chuck our jobs and start our own business. We've always been quite impulsive, but calculated but impulsive.
Yep.
So when I thought about doing this, I was like, let's try it.
Yep.
Angela wasn't up for it, and then it took a wee bit of time. Came in one day, she was crying her eyes out, and I was like, what's up? She was like, I think you're right. I think we should go try moving. What do you think? And then it was like, let's go, house up for sale, let's get it done.
Yeah.
And we've come over here, and you know what?
You've not looked back. Yeah.
No.
I can gather it's been
amazing.
Brilliant journey for you.
Been amazing. One of the best things ever. And there's just so many benefits. You just feel that I'm getting more out of life. Yeah. Bit of sunshine. Coming from Scotland and it's wet and windy and rainy, and I love Scotland to bits. But like I say, life's short. Yeah. And I think you need to go try things and do things. And do you know what? It's not like back in the day when people immigrated. Yeah. That was it. Oh, they're away in a 14-hour flight. Yeah. You jump in an Emirates flight, you're 7 hours, you're back in Glasgow. Of course you are. Yeah. So it's not that. People make it a big deal. It's not that big a deal. But I love it. So for anyone that wants to level up their marketing, create a bit of an ecosystem themselves, get better higher ticket clients, better paying clients, better audiences for their business, where should people reach out if they want to speak to you? What's the best method of reaching out to you? So easiest thing is Instagram, probably Instagram. That's kind of where most of the kind of bits and bobs are. Obviously, Angela's all over probably every platform, but we do so much together. But yeah, I think going forward, if somebody's looking to build out a proper ecosystem long term and build nice flowing leads and being able to track them and do the right stuff with the data in order to grow, that's what we're doing.
What's your handle? Remember?
Just Steve McKillop Business.
Perfect.
That's it. So Angela McKillop Business, Steve McKillop Business.
Amazing.
Nice and easy.
Stephen, thanks for your time today, mate. Really enjoyed it.
I managed to do it without coughing all the way through.
Thanks, mate.